A high-protein, low-carb, make-ahead recipe. One of my 5 favorite weekly go-to meat braises. I rotate weekly, so I am always sure to have amino-rich protein on hand. I call this my sticky, savory braise. Layers of juicy flavors and hands-off slow cooking that fits into our busy lives. Start with trusted high-quality beef, grass-fed and grass-finished, free from feedlot ingredients that can harm our health and the animal. This cut is a whole beef brisket, weighing about 4.5 pounds, one of my 5 favorite go-to braised meats. It will thaw and unfold to a much larger piece. Full of nutrient-rich collagen and amino acids to build and maintain muscle for health and longevity. My weekly routine is to pull the frozen cut from the freezer 3 days before braising. I place it on one of my trusted quarter-sheet pans and rack to aid in airflow to help with the thawing. Then into the refrigerator and let sit. This takes only 5 minutes in your day. The next day, 24 to 48 hours before braising, I sprinkle the thawing cut liberally with salt, so it has time to penetrate the protein walls for a more flavorful and tender braise. Remember to use one hand for salting and the other for touching the meat, just so you're not cross-contaminating. Place the salted meat back in the refrigerator for up to 48 hours. And remember, any time is better than no time when salting red meat. While the cut sits, gather your braising ingredients from your pantry staples. I keep it really simple, and my formula is virtually the same for all my meat braises, even when the ingredients are different. For this sticky, savory braise, first, broth. There are endless options. I prefer bone broth for its added nutrients and gut healing properties. Second, aromatics like onion and garlic. And I'll be honest, you can skip these if you don't have them on hand, but they do add fabulous flavor. Third, acids for brightness and tang. Here I have tomatoes and a savory sherry vinegar. Fourth, a bit of sticky sweet with my ever-favorite local honey. Finally, a touch of spice. Here I sprinkle in dried chili flakes for added depth. Prep is crazy simple. Start with your bright, juicy tomatoes. And an easy rough cut is all that's needed. You just need chunky-sized pieces that will stew easier in the slow-cooking braise. And it will all be strained out in the end, so they don't have to look pretty. Next, onion. Again, rough cut works just great. You can remove the roots and skins or leave them on. Either way works, as it again will all be strained out in the end. You are the only one who sees the aromatics. And finally, cut your head of garlic in half crosswise. Because it's easy for a knife to bounce off the hard head of garlic, be sure to anchor firmly on the cutting board. Make a small slit, then place the blade in the cut so it's secure, and then press firmly. The sharper the knife, the better. After only about 5 minutes of prep time, set your items aside, preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're ready to braise our meat. Here's my trusted large 7¼ quart Dutch oven for the entire process. So easy. Fire your burner and heat your oven-proof pot to medium-high. Next, add a dollop of healthy cooking fat to lightly coat the bottom so things won't stick to the pan. Then, using your heat-safe tongs, place the beef brisket, whole or in pieces, in the pot. And be careful not to make splatters. I've burned my hands pretty good that way. Press to sear to help browning if you want. And no need for salt here, remember, as we did that during prep. Also, remember you're not cooking the meat here, only searing a crust to lock in flavor juices and add a caramelized texture. A minute or so on each side is all that's needed. Then pull the cut from the pan. Place back on your quarter sheet pan and add in your aromatics for a quick sauté. If the pan is getting dried out or sticky, you can always add a little more healthy cooking fat. And we're just sautéing enough to soften the onions and garlic to help release their flavors. Next, add your juicy tomatoes. I love how simple this prep is. It's one pan and all the ingredients together. Once everything is in the pot, stir to combine. With your tongs, return the meat to the pot. Nestle your browned beef brisket into the aromatic tomato-filled base. The more snug, the better for braising. And remember, everything shrinks up in the oven. Beautiful. Now, add your braising liquid, and there are many choices, right? From wine and beer to cider. I prefer nutrient-rich bone broth. And it's okay if it still has a bit of frozen bits in it from the grocery freezer case, as it will all thaw when we bring our braise to a simmer before going into the oven. Next, your savory sherry vinegar for tang and brightness. Next, we add a touch of sweetness with my ever-favorite honey from local bees. This, of course, adds a delicious sweetness to the dish, but also a caramelized texture when we reduce down the broth into our braised gravy, which you'll see in a minute. Finally, our hint of spice. Here I have dried chili flakes. Just like with our aromatics, these too will be strained out at the end. But in the meantime, give a bit of heat or a bite to the braised sauce, taking things to the next level. You want everything to come within an inch or so of the top of the meat. Bring to a simmer to combine flavors and to make sure everything going into the oven is warm. Place your lid so the meat doesn't dry out while cooking, and into a 300-degree Fahrenheit oven on the bottom rack for about 3.5 to 4 hours while you go about your day. And here is my favorite part. Pull your braise from the oven when the meat is tender and falls apart with a pull of a fork. So tender, rich, and nutritious. For the final step, you'll need a return of your quarter sheet pan, which I wash from the earlier raw beef juices, and a strainer. This is my weekly go-to because it also is a fat separator, which you'll see in a moment. Carefully lift the meat from the pot and set on your quarter sheet pan for easy shredding in just a moment. While the meat cools a bit for shredding, we begin our sauce. With your strainer to catch all the unwanted bits in your sauce reduction, you can try pouring contents from your pan, but it can get a little messy, so I simply scoop the braised liquids, aromatics and all, into the strainer. Slowly press all the flavorful juices through. The result is a pre-made sauce ready to use. You can see how rich and flavorful the juices look even before tasting. You can also hear the plane flying overhead because I keep my windows open while I'm cooking sometimes. Sorry about that. If you look closely, you can also see how the fat naturally separates from the braising juices by floating on top, so you can easily release liquid from the bottom and leave the fat behind. I preserve the fat for sautéing vegetables to serve with the braise later. It's easier to do this straining in batches, so I discard the first unwanted pieces and pour the remaining braised juices in a separate bowl, and then repeat until we can put all the juices back in the pot. So easy. After another 2 to 3 batches of straining, we put the last of our braising juices back in the pot for a sauce reduction. Fire your burner, warm your same pot, and bring to a simmer. A sauce reduction is a simple simmer of the flavorful juices from your braise until some of the liquid components have evaporated, which will concentrate the flavors and thicken the liquid. While the juices reduce into a syrupy sauce, we can shred our beef brisket. You can pull the meat apart with 2 forks, or I dive right in with my fingers. This also helps to easily pull out any unwanted gristle or mystery bones. I call it braise meditation time. So moist, tender, and nutritious. A note of gratitude. This sticky, savory braise is inspired by a short rib recipe from the lovely Mary Berry. No one knows how to celebrate great cooking better. Braised meats are often served with the cooking liquid as a sauce or a gravy, or I often put the meat all back in the juice to help ensure moist, deep meat flavors. Stir to combine. And the final step is what I call taste and tang. So, we taste to make sure everything is just the way we want it, and it oftentimes requires a little secret at the end, a bit of acidic liquid. Here I drizzle in some of our sherry vinegar for a final game-changing touch. This helps bring it all to life. Honestly, you don't want to skip this step. The third of my 5 favorite weekly go-to braise recipes, sticky, savory braise. Layers of juicy flavors and hands-off slow cooking that fits into our busy lives. One simple pot in the oven doing its magic while you go about your day. Easy to mix and match with any plant combination. Enjoy.